very much, Lawrence, for getting involved with this project. It's fantastic. Lovely to see you. Could we just start off with you telling us who you are and what your job is?
Yeah, sure. My name is Lawrence Block. I am an aerospace engineer. And this year I started my own company trying to make world's strongest recycled material out of carbon fiber.
Fantastic. And what activities are actually involved in you carrying out this role, this job?
At the moment, my time is kind of 50-50 spending here in the lab, testing materials, mixing chemicals and things, and a lot of hands-on on a machine, a bit as when you do maintenance on your bike, but then a little bit bigger and automated, making sure everything runs smoothly. And the other 50% is a lot of planning, looking at finances, how much money do we have in the bank, trying to. It's a good split. Okay,
and how did you kind of come up with this idea in the first place? You know, creating this kind of job for yourself and this company for yourself.
So for me, I think it took quite long to realize what I really wanted to do as a job. I was always quite good in the in mathematics, chemistry, and the science courses. So it was quite easy to just follow the route. Okay, university, and then I went to do a PhD in the end. All of it really because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I was lucky enough that the exams and stuff went well. And then I think around 5 years ago, I met a professor who really motivated me, and I just really started enjoying engineering. And he explained to me, if you have an idea, whatever it is, whether it's engineering or something, you can make a job out of it, hire other people, get other people on board. And that's what I think is, that's really motivating for me, that when you have a good idea, you can get other people involved.
Fantastic. And I mean, this idea of sustainability, I mean, is this kind of core to what you do?
So in the company, that is one of our main selling points. Sustainability is really a hot topic at the moment. When it comes to business, the reality that I kind of learned is in the end, everybody wants to say, oh, you need to make money. But I still believe kind of as we go to the future, we need to think about how can we reuse things actually. So it's not just about, can you make money off it and grab as much, but it's also as when you talk about physical stuff, can you actually reuse it and throw away less?
Okay. So, if you can cast your mind back to school, what subjects did you kind of study at school, and what kind of qualifications did you have by the time you'd left school?
When I studied, I did maths, chemistry, and physics. Mm-hmm. One weird one that I added in there was philosophy. I quite enjoyed that. There was really strange lectures where we were walking and meditating. And I think that's, there's quite in maths and this, some people find it hard, but I find it quite, there's a sort of beauty in that as well, to try and understand it and how things work together. I just followed that. And other qualifications, I just didn't do too much next to my school back then, I think.
Okay. And so what kind of training have you done to kind of prepare yourself for where you are now?
So my route went from A-levels in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
To university. So I did a bachelor in aerospace engineering. That was a lot of fun because in the Netherlands, they allow you to fly and do a parabolic flight. That's when I also realized I shouldn't become a pilot or an astronaut because and then I just stumbled on this material, carbon fiber. I wasn't doing extremely well, I would say. I was just on the edge, a little bit behind, and then did a fun project trying to make a little car out of carbon fiber. I was like, this is amazing. You can grab a material, place it somewhere. It's extremely strong. And that's when I decided to do a master's in that topic as well. And again, it's kind of the same story where it was all a little bit too much for me. I had to skip a few courses and I was a bit delayed. And then because I don't want to be bored waiting a year to do another exam, I spoke to a professor on a small project, and that linked me somehow to BMW. And then I spent a year working at BMW, looking at crumple zones and crash zones, how to make cars safe with this material. And that project then brought me to Bristol, where I am now, actually in the same building, which is called the National Composite Centre. And I really liked the UK. I preferred it a bit over Germany, I'm happy to say. Pubs are better over here. Yeah, and I decided to come to Bristol, and that's when they had a technology here for the recycling and reuse of carbon fiber. And that's really when I started to kind of all fall into place. I didn't like the big organizations of this, so I think it took me 24, 25 years to be, this is really like it.
So it's quite a long story in its development, and eventually ending up where you are now. Okay, what personal qualities do you think you have that have kind of made you the kind of person you are, and to fit the role that you've found yourself in now?
Good question. I think one is I'm quite lucky that mathematics are easy for me. So if there's a formula, I just dig in and I can do that. The other one, which I think is important, is I quite like to organize things, get out there, organize a party, get people together, weekends, camping, and that helps as well. Then kind of that combination of if you have to kind of dig in for your mathematics and do all your calculations and that work. And the other one, I think, even though, well, normally as engineers, we say aerospace engineers are the most useless because they only think, they don't do anything with their hands. I was quite a keen cyclist, so I was always trying to fix my bike. Quite often at the start, I used to break something that then required a proper mechanic to fix it. So I just kept doing it until I could repair the things myself. So I think kind of those three skills that I can do the thinking, and I like to get people together, and then a little bit of hands-on. But from where I am now, I see people who are much better in thinking than me, people who are much better hands-on than me, and also people who are a lot more creative and much better at sales. But it's nice to kind of know a little bit of everything there.
Okay, so you're kind of like the linchpin of all of this. You kind of pull all these things together.
I try to, yes.
Okay, okay. So every kind of role, every kind of job, every career has its kind of rewards and its challenges. So, I mean, if we start with the challenges, I mean, what would you say have been the biggest challenges on the road to where you are now?
I think challenges, the hardest is there have been very long hours. And in the PhD, somebody you're a long time, you are working on your own. Especially then if you try to, that's kind of personally on the technical side, and that's kind of when you're learning, a lot of people try to tell you this is how it has to be done, this is how it has to be done. So you're always kind of adapting to that. And then on the company side, the most challenging, I think, is to get people together. I used to think managers, I never really had to do much with managers. I think, managers, they don't do any work. But I see now getting a lot of people working together takes a lot of work too, and is a job in itself. Okay. Engineers don't talk about that, I think, quite enough, and that's quite an important aspect that I find personally now quite challenging, to just make sure everything stays streamlined.
Okay, so that's the challenges, but there must be some reward in this for you. I mean, what is the reward?
The reward is for me, once the machine and everything works, that it's just, you get these things together and you're like, wow, as an engineer, you quite often, this bit needs to rotate like that bit needs to do this. And then when it all works together, you are hands off. That is just, that's great. When you think of something and you test it, it's kind of scary. Doesn't always work, but that's kind of how you learn. You try it, you do it again, you fix it. I call that firefighting. You try to do as much as you can to make it work, but it never works in the end perfectly. And that's when you have really creative skills to kind of firefight and find solutions. That is really nice. And just with colleagues at the end of the week, if you had made some milestones, and you can enjoy that, it's really exciting.
Okay. And so, I mean, okay, you've been doing this, you said 25 years in the making. Okay. I mean, that's a long time. I mean, and now you finally kind of got where you want, where you want to kind of be. I mean, what keeps you going? What kind of gets you out of bed in the morning and to really get in there and get stuck in?
Yeah, right now that is just the idea of reusing carbon fiber. So the way, I thought this is quite a nice thing to explain our technology works, this material works, is carbon fiber is a bit like your hair, really weak. If you put a gel in, then you can shape it and it keeps its strength. So if you replace your hair with a carbon fiber and the gel with a really strong plastic, you get something that's stronger than steel, but lighter than aluminium. And that is great, but it's very hard to recycle. What you can do, you can chop it, but you have lots of small hairs. And it only works when they are nicely aligned. So our technique aligns fibers, and I really think that this can be used for loads of material around us and reuse it in laptops and phone cases. And just any step I can do to get there and get this, for me, it's got, will work. We'll have a recycled phone case here, or from a plane into a bike. That's really what motivates me. And then I'm just working in this lab without windows sometimes, and then something with somebody like, oh, that's a great technology, let me help you. That is for me what gets me up every morning.
That's fantastic. Well, that has been genuinely inspiring, actually, especially that last bit. Because I mean, lots of people kind of think that, that jobs just happen, and they don't kind of really appreciate the journey that you take to get where you are, and that motivation to kind of just keep going until you achieve your goal. I genuinely wish you all the luck in the world with this. And just like to say, thank you so much for being part of this project. It's been fantastic to hear your story, and I'm sure it's going to kind of inspire lots of kids to kind of listen to it. Thanks ever so much, Lauren.